I believe that animals have a vital core. They're alive. I'm not denying that. What I'm denying is animals have a soul as defined as spiritual principle embodied in human beings, which makes them rational and spiritual thinkers.
Now I have 2 minutes to rebut.
Oh, all right. You said that animals, and we all believe animals have a life force, but very few believe that animals may actually have a soul. There are many different versions of which the Bible is translated. I'm going to go ahead and bring up I have this Bible here. I have the New International Version from 2005, and I have the King James Version Bible to choose from. So what I'm going to go do is I'm going to go ahead and Genesis 1:21 and 24. So here's part of it. And God created great wealth in every living creature that moveth, which the waters brought forth abundantly after their kind, and every winged fowl after his kind. And then God saw that it was good. Now, also, I need to find my papers, but let's see. All right, I'm going to go and bring up some Hebrew. In the beginning of our scriptures, we see that God created every living creature, Genesis 1:21 and 24. The Hebrew words translated are che, meaning living, and nesphra, meaning soul. Nesphra is mentioned over 400 times in the Old Testament, signifying soul. The words che nesphra are used from chapter 1, verse 20, when the waters are filled with living creatures. The close translation from Hebrew is, and God said, let the waters swarm with the swarmers, having a soul of life. And in the next verse, and God created the great sea animals, and all that creeps, having a living soul.
30 seconds.
Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and bring up another verse from Revelation. Revelation 8:9 says, and the third part of the creatures which were in the sea that had life died, and the third part of the ships were destroyed. Why would the Bible state that it had life? Also, I continually believe that animals do have souls and that they do have a spirit, and that there's more to it than once they're dead, their existence is no longer existent.
You now have 10 minutes to cross. Any questions or demand answers on his position?
Starting now?
Starting now.
All right. I'm not so sure you're understanding where I'm coming from. You say that you fervently believe that once animals die, that's it. Is that correct? Or you saying you don't believe that? You saying that you think animals have a higher purpose than just living and dying? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not denying that animals don't have a purpose, but having a purpose does not entitle soul. One of the greatest evidences that I can see was something that Mr. Maine told me a couple of days ago when he said a road has a purpose. You know, you drive on it, it's meant to get you places, but it doesn't have a soul. Purpose does not entitle soul. Do you have any response to that?
You are true. You are true when you say that purpose doesn't entitle soul, because God can use a rock for a purpose. But I believe that animals, I believe that they have the ability to think, and that they do have some reason in them. Because, say, if you had a lion who's creeping and is trying to go after a gazelle, if that lion didn't have reason in thinking, it would just go chase right after that gazelle, and that would automatically give off a warning. But what the lion does is it chews the prow, and it stalks its prey, and it thinks, and it takes every step into consideration, and then that's when it goes straight for it and goes for the kill.
All right. When you use the example of the lion stalking its prey, could that be instinct instead of rational thinking? Does a lion, when it's stalking its prey, say, if I run up to this prey really fast, it's going to scare it away, and I'm not going to get any food? Or does it think, this is the way I saw my parent teach me to do it, and this is the way it's always been taught to me, so I'm going to do it the way I know how? Is there a difference between instinct and rational thinking?
Well, you do have a point there to where they line it. The cubs do learn from its mother, but it also, as the climate changes, it needs to know its surroundings and it needs to know when to attack. So I think it has a little bit of both in it.
Okay, I still qualify that as instinct and following either its mother, its father, whatever animal above it that it's teaching it to live. They follow that. If you took a lion cub from birth and stuck it out in the wilderness, it would die because it cannot make the rational decision. It would have to learn by instinct, and that's why there are so many problems with releasing animals back into the wild. They don't have the instinct to do what they need to do to survive.
Very true. Now, what if I told you that a chipmunk were to go ahead and try and take on and eat a bear? What does the chipmunk think? Does it think before it takes on the bear? Usually, because if that chipmunk, I know this is a pretty weird demonstration, but if the chipmunk didn't think and it had no thought, and it just went up and said, I can take down this bear, it just didn't think at all, it just went up and did it. Well, we all know that this chipmunk would kill pretty easily, but the chipmunk knows to run away and hide.
Okay, I'm going to go on to a different topic after this, but that's also instinct. Okay, there's no rational thinking behind it. There's no, bears are dangerous to chipmunks because they are bigger and they have claws and they could hurt me. It's, that thing's bigger, I better not go near it because Mommy told me not to go near it because, you see what I mean? It's more an emulation of their elder. Okay, I see your point and that's mine. On a different topic, if animals have souls, i.e. they have a place in heaven along with humans in that respect, why do we see so many examples in the Bible of God using animals for sacrifice?
Well, just like in today's chapel, Pastor Kissman said that much of the animals were used to symbolize Jesus Christ, like the lamb. They had sacrificed a lamb without defect, symbolizing the coming of Jesus Christ, and without sin to die for the sins of man. Now, I believe that animals have souls, but I do not believe that they're better than us. I believe that God created us more important than them, but I also believe that animals have a role in heaven. Now, I'm going to go ahead and bring up a verse of Genesis 7:15. This is from the King James Version.
You can't do that.
I can't do
You
that.
can't give out any information except responding to what I'm saying.
All right, respond to her question.
Okay.
She's cross-examining you.
Okay, let's ignore the sacrifices then, and let's say those don't count because they were an emulation of Christ. How do you explain the story that we had in chapel 2 days ago where the Israelites wanted meat, so God gave them 3 feet of quail to eat?
Well,
How do you explain that?
Well, I can explain that because, like I said before, I still believe that God made humans to be greater, and He loves us far more than He loves animals. Therefore, He'd be willing to sacrifice the animals for our needs. But even so, I believe that animals in their vast complexity of life can and do have a purpose. Well, not just a purpose, but a living soul that keeps them going, and a will.
Okay, soul and will are different. There is no definition in the dictionary that equates soul with having a will to live. Second, how do you explain in Genesis when God created man, animals, all creatures, He gave them grass and trees and leaves to eat. However, after the flood, He gave man animal to eat. Why would He change His position on that if animals have souls?
I find that a little confusing, but